Hey guys, Brandon here from the Vancouver Pupps, and we wanted to do a little more work on some of our Oko puppets to try and make them a little bit better. And today I got the Marionette out. I got him out of storage. I haven't used him in a while, but I love the Marionette version of Oko that I made because I've been able to do some amazing shots with him using this Marionette. It's a lot of fun to be able to splice in little shots where you get to see Oko full body, and it's always a very surprising little scene, and people have told me they really like those shots, and it's always a fun way to play with the puppets. So I really want to make him work as well as I can. And even though I've been very satisfied with how he looks so far, I've always found him to be a little bit limiting. In particular, his face. So what I want to work on today is the head, the mouth, and the eyes. In particular, it's funny, the eyes are always so important. We're coming back to them now again for the second workshop. So in particular, what I want is to, at the very least, be able to add an effect to the Marionette where Oko can open and close his mouth. And if we can get that working, then I also am interested in getting some sort of mechanism for the handles of the Marionette that can work the eyes as well. It'd be really amazing if I could get his eyes to open and close with a little switch, a little pulley, a little string pulley. But the most important one, like I said, is the mouth. I want to get the Marionette to be able to open and close its mouth so that he can at least talk. Because up until now, even though the shots are really amazing with Marionette, there's only so much you can do with just the physical movement, and Oko is a very talkative guy, so he's always talking, and I want to be able to just get some amazing full shots of him speaking if possible. So that's it. So I have a new head I'm going to be working on here. I always recycle parts if I can. This head actually came from the Oko that I used for the last live performance. That one was designed to sort of come apart in certain ways. It was a very specialized puppet, and I had to refill the eye here with some replacement foam from where I had to cut a hole there so I could yank his eye out. And then the mouth plate here, I also cut a little extra out. There was already a bit of a hole in the back of this mouth plate so that I could pull his tongue out and the muscle, but I cut the hole a little bit bigger. Basically, I cut a little more out of the hole so that when the tongue is put in there, because this project is going to rely on gravity to sort of like have everything sit in a closed position. So I want to have as little resistance in here as I can. So I cut a little hole there so that the foam tongue, which I have inside, which is about, could be as much as a 1/4 inch thick, it won't stop the mouth from closing as much if there's a bit of a hole there for the tongue to sort of sink into in the black fabric of the mouth. But anyway, we'll get more into that once I start putting it all together. But like I said, this is the head we're going to be using, and here is the fur that goes over top of it, and I had to just hand sew the hole shut where I put his eye out. And then the only other thing that I've done to this to prepare for this project today ahead of time was I added these little rivets here. One there, on both sides of the corner of the mouth. One here and here. I just got some contact cement, attached little rivets to there because I'm going to be using those as reinforcements because I have to add little hinges here. All right, so I think we're ready to get started now on this project. All right, so here's the foam head I'm going to be working on. So this is what I envisioned. The first thing, like I mentioned, we're going to be relying on gravity to be doing the effect of what we want to do here. So this foam naturally adds a resistance, which is how Oko kind of works. The foam head kind of works. In a resting position, the mouth is always open. But for what we're doing, we want the head to be in the closed position so that with the strings, I can pull a string to open the mouth as I want. So that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm going to try and do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the foam along the back here, starting at the corner of the mouth. And I'm going to use this dart in the back, I think, as sort of a guide as well. Because I think this is going to be kind of pretty even. I'm going to kind of go like this. I kind of go like this. I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, so that looks pretty good to me. So let me think here. Now what I'm going to do is, I wonder if I should cut it first and then hinge it. Yeah, I'm gonna cut it. I have some really fine wire here that I'm gonna use for the corners of the mouth. This might even be too fine. No, it should be fine. This is pretty good. This is galvanized steel wire, 22 gauge. All right, here I have a blade. I use this to open my parcels from my mail. This is my... It's not working very well. Okay, hold on. Here we go. All right, good. So there we go. It's already kind of naturally closing. Yeah, so you basically, yeah, we're basically just transferring this angle to the back. This is the sort of thing we used to do in design school. When I was in fashion design school, we would learn how to like manipulate darts and move them around. Just like this. I'm having flashbacks from design school. All right, so that's good. So I'm happy with that. So that's basically it. And now I'm going to get some wire and I'm going to attach, I'm going to put them through these little rivets through the back and just make a little loop. Not too tight, just enough to keep the top and bottom parts of the head together. So I'll just get a little piece about, oh, I don't know, how long is this? This is like about 6 inches long. All right, that's good. I'm happy with that. So there's, oh, look at that. I can open it to show you. So that's all I did, is just kind of put them together and twist them together for a bit. I'm just going to leave, you're never going to see the inside, and because the Marionette, I don't have to worry about this poking anyone's hand, because hands don't really go in the Marionette. The Marionette, everything is done externally from the puppeteer, so. I'm not going to worry about little wires that are poking out here and there. That's perfectly fine. Touch that. Because it might be a little too tight. All right. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. So it's kind of hard to see because I'm filming from bird's eye, but yeah, it's basically gonna rest sort of like this. There it is. Added the wires there, a little extra support. All right, so that's good. So I think that's it. So I think the next step now is to put the fur on, and then I'm gonna start working on my plan for the eyelids. Well, yeah, actually there's one more thing I want to do to the front, before we do the fur. Because this is going to help having extra light being able to come in here. I can actually see what I'm doing here. But there's something I need to add to the top mouth plate. So I'm going to do that now. All right, so I have some clay here. And originally I was thinking of maybe just getting a rock and gluing a rock, because basically what I want to do is I want to add a little bit of weight to the tip of the lip on the upper lip, just so that way it will stay down. I don't want any bobbing. So I was going to get a rock and just glue that in, but I have this clay, so I think what I'm going to do is just create a little clay block that'll just like go in the front. That'll add a weight to the front of that. So let's just quickly do that. This is just cheap clay. You don't need good quality clay for what I'm doing. And I'm just gonna press it right in there, I think. That's the size of the piece I just yanked out. That already, I think, has enough weight to do what it is I want it to do. I'm just gonna press this in, and I can let this dry, and then I'll seal it, and then I can even glue it in. Let me just see. So that is actually pretty good. Yeah, that's perfect. That's doing exactly what I want. It does add a bit. It might actually even be too much weight. But yeah, that is definitely... He's definitely keeping his mouth shut now. That, like I say, though, that is adding quite a bit of weight to the front, though. I might have to counteract that by attaching some weight to the back as well. The more I think about this, though, because I'm worried about the marionette head constantly looking forward and downward. Let me see. Why don't I divide this in half? Let me try with half as much. I'm gonna press this. All right, so that's pretty good. That's still heavy enough, so that's good. So then I'll take this and just see. So that does feel better if I attach a counterweight to the back. Let's see, kind of, yeah. I might even want a little more weight in the back. I think it'd be better to keep his head up. All right, that feels pretty good. Yep. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna press this into a nicer shape and then let it dry, and then I'm gonna glue it to the back. And so I'm just attaching, this one is the one that's gonna go just to the back of the head as the counterweight. And I'm going to press this one into a nicer shape. All right, that looks pretty good. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna leave it in the head to dry. Why not? That's probably the best idea. So yeah, I'm just going to take both of these pieces and attach them. All right, so I'm just gonna let those clay parts dry now so that they can be permanently attached. And then, yeah, I like that. That's gonna be good. So the mouth is closing, so I'll be able to attach some strings to the front. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it yet, but basically we're going to be able to pull a string to open the mouth. Anyway, on to the next step. I think the next step is, yeah, let those dry, and then I'll glue them in just so they're nice and secure. And then I am going to put the fur on, and then we'll start working on the eyes, the eyelids. All right, so I got the clay here, and while we're waiting for the little blocks to dry so I can cure them and seal them in, we can work on the eyelids. So I have two sets of the eyelids here that, these are the new eyelids that I designed in the last workshop episode. So these are like a semicircle that will completely cover the eye when they're in the closed position. So I made these little wires, so I'm going to put these in through the little loops here now, little eyelids. And I think what I might want to do as well is maybe secure these. I don't know. I'll just not worry about it for now. We'll see. I might need to secure the wires that are in there, but they're just, yeah. Let's not worry about it right now. So now I'm gonna start arching this as evenly as I can. Okay, that looks pretty good. So this will kind of be down like this. We'll see. Yeah, I'm not sure. The eyelids are a little tougher than the mouth. There's more weight to work with. Let's do the second one here. And we'll see how that one looks. That looks pretty good as well. All right, now what I need to work on, and maybe I should have done this before I bent them. I'm gonna actually take these out. Because what we need to do is attach the weights on the inside. So I probably should have done that maybe first, but that's okay. We can always just insert these later, but there it is. There's one of the wires for the eyelid. And here was the second one. Let's kind of see what they look like here. Hopefully they look pretty universal. Yeah, they're pretty close. Close enough. Looks good to me. All right, now how are we going to do this? This is the part that I'm not quite sure. Like I said, there's a lot more space. We don't have a lot of room here, but what I want to do is attach some sort of a little bit of weight to the inside of the eyelid. So let me just see if I can... I don't know if the clay thing will work for the eyelids. I might need to maybe look for some beads or something like that. I don't know, we'll see. Let me just see. How would I do this? I was thinking maybe if I had like... I could almost make this into a bead. If I had like something like this. It's just a little piece of clay. I don't know if that would be heavy enough. What I'm thinking of is making this into a bead, but just put some holes through it so that I can just run some thread through it. But I basically want it to be on the inside of the eye and heavy enough to... That would probably work, actually, to be honest. That seems pretty good. I'm gonna get a pin here, because the real challenging thing is, I think, going to be figuring out how I'm going to attach this to here. What I might need to do, another idea I had was just creating a little like sleeve. That might be the better thing to do. What I might need to do is create a little cloth sleeve here that I can just hand sew on, and then I could just maybe slip the weight in, the little clay bead in. Okay, I'm gonna make two of these, and I am gonna put a pin through the middle in case I do want to run some sort of thread through it. So there's one. We have a bit of a wait period anyway for the clay, so you might as well get going on this. And so we'll do them roughly the same size. I'm probably not going to need the tube through the middle, but I'm going to do it anyway just in case. All right, so I'm just going to put those aside and let them dry. Make sure I can pull these pins out afterwards. All right, I'm going to think about this. I'm going to let these dry, and then I'm going to, yeah, I think what I might have to do is just get some scrap fabric and, like I said, sew a little sleeve that I can just slip this in. And that just might be the easiest way to do it. I also have to remember, though, that these are, you know what? That I might have to bend these. I have to remember, these are going to be sort of like this. It's a good thing I thought of this. Okay, yeah, the pins are not going to work now. Yeah, because I'm going to need this to be a little arched. Let's go like this. Yeah, I'm going to give them a little bit of a bend. All right, so there you are. I'm happy with those, I think. I'm going to try this method. I'm going to wait for these to dry, and I'll make some sort of little pocket that I can put here on the inside of the eyelids. All right, so I think we're ready to move on to the next step. So first thing I'm gonna need, I just got this regular Elmer's glue, is what I'm gonna be using to keep these in secured. Whoops, that's a little too much, but that's okay. Got a lot of this glue. All right, so I made these little sleeves here, which I didn't test these. Hopefully they fit. I'd be pretty upset if they didn't. Yep, they should be fine. They should fit in fine. They just kind of slide right in there. That one will fit in there. I just used a little bit of muslin and just hand sewed these. Yep, perfect, yep. But I'm just gonna add a little glue to these just so they kind of like stay in there. I'm just gonna slide them in. I don't want to get any of this glue on the fur, so we'll just slide that in. Yep, perfect. So there's one. Just gonna let that dry. And then this second one, put a little glue on it now that we know that it fits. All right, so there we go. So those should dry and then just sort of like stay in place, I think. That's gonna be pretty good. Yeah, and I can feel there is weight at the front of the eyelid there, so I think that's gonna be perfect. That's about as good as, that's good enough. So the eyelids are done. Okay, now these pieces. Now, the first one I'm gonna do, I think, is the back part. So here's the face, and I wanted to attach this one. This is the one that dried now, and it's stuck to the back. So I'm going to, maybe I'll use a pen to mark sort of the boundaries of this weight that we've made. Okay, and I'm just gonna attach glue all over the foam and so add it to the foam, and I'm gonna add glue to the back. Yeah, and these clay pieces have already been sealed with glue. that's dried. And okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some tape to this to keep it in place. I'm going to use some of this Gorilla Tape. Oops, that was probably too much. Okay, there's about almost a foot. All right, so it's kind of hard to see, but I just, glued the clay piece in place, and then I've just taped it here just to kind of keep it, because it's sort of, I want it to stay upright while the glue is drying, because one of the pieces we have to put in is in the front. All right, so now what I'm going to do is insert this one into the front of the face. So the first thing I'll do is put glue in there. A whole bunch of glue all over. Okay, that's well glued, and now I will glue the clay piece. Okay, I'm adding lots of glue because I'm just going to be letting this sit for a long time, so it'll have lots of time to set. All right, so there we go. So I got the two little stones, the little weights in the front of the eyelids, and now I have the stone in the front here and the counterweight in the back. All right, so I'm just gonna let that dry, and then we'll come back to it, and then we'll put the fur on. All right, so I put the fur on, and we've got some hits and misses here. So I realized that the back part that I had cut, the fabric, the foam along from the bottom of the line that I had cut is still sort of being resisted from the fur now. The fur is kind of covering that wound, that seam that I made. And so the mouth is resting in the open position again, which I don't want. See, it's like the fur is pulling the foam back to its resting position, because that's it. When the foam head is in its natural resting position, it should be open. But we want the opposite. We want it to be down. So what I think I'm going to have to do is cut off actually this back part, which means I might have to either move the counterweight up as well, which would be fine, or attach it to the fabric somehow maybe as well. I don't know yet. But I know that I'm going to have to decrease the resistance here in the back. So I'm going to, I think, cut off this bottom part of the foam from right just a little bit past the corners of the mouths. So yeah, so I'm going to try that right now and just see if that starts to feel better. Just using a marker to place a line. One cut. I know it's kind of, so there. So I just took out the back part, and there's that counterweight that I attached, but I can always reattach that if I think I need it. So I think that's a bit better. Yeah. Kind of hard to tell, I know, from the bird's eye view, but basically it's staying closed a little bit better now. This is going to be tough because I still have to also attach this to the back, to the body. It's still going to be like held. This is tough. I wonder. Anyway, we'll keep working at this. Anyway, it's better. Just wondering if I even need that counterweight or not. I'm pretty sure I do. So we've got quite a little gap here now, but that's fine. It's All right, yeah, it's not bad. I think it is working. Okay, so I'm just going to think about this for a bit. I don't think I need to add the counter. I'm starting to rethink the counterweight now. Because, like I said, this will be attached to the neck seam. So that'll be kind of holding it in sort of the front position. So I think just the weight in the tip of the nose was sort of a good idea. And I think that's the only thing we really need. Okay, I think that I will just go with this for now. All right, so here's the mock-up. That's sort of complete with the fur now. So here's the eyelids. You can kind of see they're in the down resting position. And the head, too, is sort of in its natural state, is sort of in a closed position. So what I'm going to do now is attach this new head to the old Marionette body. And then once we get it restrung, then I'll start putting some new strings on here somehow. Let's see if we can get this head talking. Okay, so I just wanted to show that I haven't strung up his legs or his hands yet, but he's being held out right now by his body and head, and that's fine. So I just wanted to show that here we have the new head on. So now I'm going to be attaching some strings that I'll be able to pull. So here's the head. Gravity is kind of holding the head in the down position, so you can see it with some strings. And then both the eyes are looking pretty good here. They're sort of down, but I can use strings to sort of lift them. All right, so that's the next step. I'm going to start working on some wire mechanisms to control the mouth and the eyelids. All right, so I haven't strung up his feet yet, but I have him sort of strung up temporarily with the hands. So I don't want to do anything too crazy with the eyelids, but what I've done is, I know this is kind of hard to see, but basically I've strung a string between the two eyes and it's being connected up here by a hook that's on the hand parts. And that'll control the eyelids. Okay. And then here, attached right down, so then I attached a string right between the head that goes up to some rings here. It comes into this loop and then through this one. And this is the string I'm going to pull. See if I can see. This is the string I'm going to pull with my thumb when I'm holding, and that'll control the mouth like that. I pull this string here, this ring. It's just right near the top, and it's gonna, yeah, that operates the mouth. Okay, it's a little hard to do. It's a little hard to do this, you know, while holding the camera. I wish I had someone here to help me do this, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do now is just set up the camera on a stand so I can just see if I can get him moving a little bit properly. All right, so I just temporarily have the hands sort of here. Obviously, today's project, the whole emphasis was on the face. So let's see how this works now. When I pull the ring, I'm going to hook the ring. All right. Hello. Hello. So his eyes are still closed, though. And I haven't strung up his feet yet, but the mouth is moving. So that's pretty good, I have to say. Now let's see the eyes. Let's see, I'll put this hand down. There we go. I can kind of like move them back and forth. But I think I might want to like loop around my thumb around it a little bit. So that I can definitely... Let's see. Hello. Hello, Oko. Oko here. Hey, everyone. How are you? I can see you. All right, well, it's a little hard to do it all, but all coordinated all at once is going to be really difficult. I think that I can kind of like, yeah, loop the eyelid string around one finger. And then it's a little difficult, though. Yeah, it's kind of working now. Test. 1, 2, 3. If I really want him to open his mouth wide, I'm going to have to pull with my other hand, I think. Say, ah. Say, ah. All right. Well, overall, that's looking pretty good. Okay, guys, so that's it. So I'm really happy with the upgrades we've done to the Marionette. So now we can control the eyes with the strings and open up the head. Or the mouth. The mouth, so we can finally make him talk. So for some upcoming videos, I'm going to be probably experimenting a little bit with this Marionette, and hopefully we can get some great shots where we can have him walking around full body, held up by strings, and actually be able to talk to the camera. So that'll be a little future experiment and a little goal to pass, right? So that's it, guys. So there's another workshop video done, another great little upgrade to one of the Oko puppets. One of the probably most important puppets in all of the Vancouver Pupp collection. But yeah. So that's it, guys. So thank you, everybody, for watching the workshop episode. If you found this interesting, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel by clicking down below, and feel free to comment and like this video. And I'll see you guys all on the next episode here on the Vancouver Pupps YouTube channel, whatever episode that might be. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one. Bye for now.